means? All right, so that means it's not inferior to any of the other laws that they may purport or present. Article 6 of the Constitution says what? The judges of every state shall be bound thereby. Right? Judicial branch, legislative branch, etc., 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 and any laws of any of the states to the contrary notwithstanding, which means they can't stand against it. So what occurs when you keep waving it and they keep telling you it's democracy and you won't contest that? So now they got military law, pirate law of the seas, and they're playing it on you, and they're getting you to agree with it, and then they execute military tribunals.
So any court really allowed to hear is the Supreme Court?
It's the only true law. Now you understand why Moors have cases, they always go to a federal court, because the state court is illegitimate. Unless it's delegated.
But under Article 6, how can he give delegation of authority from Supreme Court to a district court?
Now it's called a delegation of authority order. It's a certificate. Meaning just the way they command licenses from you, you have right to command them to produce their license. And their license to run the court under judicial powers only would be inclusive of a delegation of authority order, DOAO, and must be produced upon a challenge, i.e. you've just challenged the jurisdiction of that court. At that time, they must acknowledge, for the record, the what?
Status.
Now, what is status? Are we seeing? Are you following? You're not Negro, black, and color, are you? You're not artificial. So now, what have they been running? They've been running legislative courts with the authority that's vested only in the judicial branch of government, which is a constitutional violation. And what occurs if you don't object? And remember, the judge already has obligations. It's called a waiver, isn't it? So if you waive in your rights and you don't command your right at the law common, which is the Constitution, the supreme law of the land, they operate on other things without contesting. That's why you also never say, any time when you're in a courtroom, you never make any statements without saying, for the record. And by the way, I want my transcripts when I leave here, too. I ain't got no money because y'all took it all to Europe. Oh, uh-huh. So the monetary system is actually sharecropping certificates. It is. Because you're not allowed to have money. No, you're not allowed to have money because the United States Republic is under occupation. And therefore they have credit script. But they put the liens against you through your driver's license, your marriage license, and birth certificates. So when you understand that, what do? For the record, you counter or you reject that. You rescind any claim that they have against you under those false certificates by making it for the public record that you reject that. And those that they force upon you, you claim you reserve your rights without prejudice. You never sign anything with them with just your name signature. Never. Nothing. Never sign anything with just your name. Nothing with them. With the UCC 1-207, 1-103.6, and without prejudice, or all rights reserved. Never sign anything with them. Nothing with them. And if anybody in your family ever gets in legal problems and you're giving them bail, Don't ever give them what they call cashes. Always get a federal money order and write on it ransom. And sign that with the UCC 1-207, UCC 1-103 without prejudice. Then you have a record, and you can come back 99 years later and sue them when they cash it. Keep these things in mind. These are this called living within the contract, because the United States Republic is under occupation. You're not supposed to know that. But being Moorish American, you know that. Now you must use that to protect yourself.
But can't this be done on the ills and bays?
You doggone, you better. Because you still have right to make contract. And see, government is not in place to interfere with your right to make contract. As a matter of fact, when you're ill and bay, you're supposed to know better. And you're ill and bay, now you can really be held to it. Because you're a free man.
That's right.
However, you got them over the barrel because they're fraud in the first place. But at the same time, you're a clean and pure nation, and you're not supposed to use this knowledge for any what you call fraudulent purpose or to try to get out of obligations. But your nationality is to preserve your rights, and that nationality card is to start the process in the legal and lawful arena of reclaiming your birthright. But also remember, when others are dealing with you and they don't have anything, they really are in a negative status themselves. So if they're trying to take a superior position to you, particularly in a legislative court under statutory law, claiming judicial powers, understand that they're fraud from day one. And you declare the judgment. Come on, man, get your fez on. Don't act like you don't know. I know your obligation. You know your obligation. Now, if you're maintaining slavery, say it for the record. Because I'm declaring my rights. Now, what you going to do? No, I'm really, and you really got to say that with absolute confidence, because they're going to start trying to take you through a whole bunch of confusing processes when actually those processes are not necessary. He is already obligated. It's not something you need to establish. It's already established. And he is bound by oath to uphold that Constitution. That's why you never go to a courtroom without a copy of the federal Constitution, a copy of the state's Constitution, a knowledge of the Zodiac Constitution, which they're all based on. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And an oath, a fundamental copy of judges' oaths. That's always your evidence. You'll never walk into a courtroom without those instruments. Never. And you'll never go in a courtroom without already preceding yourself with documentation. Islam, brother.
Where do you get those documents that you just mentioned?
That's what the Moorish Science Temple was established for. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right, so who's in power? The chairman are empowered to do what? Did it say make prayer? Oh. Did it say what? Say it again? They are empowered for what? Oh, doesn't that sound like government to you? Did the prophet miss a beat? He did not. We missed the beat. Are you understanding what's happening here? And so we must get our house in order so that we can do what? Start securing the birthright for our families and our children. I mean, you see how simple that is? So now we have status, right? So proper procedure before they can start talking about, well, sister, you got 5 popcorn tickets, and you know what you got to do with that? You got to put them in the microwave. And you can say, well, I had $5, and you don't go there. You start saying, oh, excuse me, Jack, for the record, status has not been established. You're talking about the subject matter or the subject before this court, and status has not been established. Right? So the first thing must be established is what? Status. Right? Then jurisdiction, right? And venue, right? Then and what do they typically do when Negroes or people who are branded walk into a courtroom? They're obligated to this. They go straight to adjudication, assuming jurisdiction because they see their name on that document. And so they automatically have you under what? So that's already satisfied.